It's Friday with the man who knows. So we've been speaking about consciousness and this idea that if things were so integrated that we were actually a part of this kind of hidden clockwork of how things worked, maybe reality kind of creates itself for the purpose of not just itself, but maybe to help us in some way. I spoke yesterday of a friend of mine who got into a car accident only to get CAT scan and realized that he had a brain tumor in his head. So how does that actually work? Or is it just complete random coincidence? Now, a friend of mine who actually became a friend of mine after she told me this story, I was actually doing a show in Flint Hill, Virginia, and a friend of mine by the name of Nora came up to me and said, you know something, I wouldn't even be here unless this thing took place the other day. And so she proceeded to tell me this very, very interesting story. And the story regards her being about to board a flight to London in order to see a friend of hers debut in a theater. And then suddenly she got this strange vision. By the way, if you like the kinds of stories that I tell and the things that we talk about here on this channel, why not subscribe and make sure you tell it to a friend? We always talk about strange stuff here, but we do it so well. These are my real life stories of the impossible. Nora is a person who I met in Flint Hill, Virginia, and she told me the story of how she was just about to board this plane in order to see a friend of hers debut in a theater performance in London when suddenly she got this strange feeling of like gravity making her stay in the chair that she was sitting in. And this is while they were boarding, she got this strange feeling of just intense gravity keeping her there. And then as she looked at the gate going in and people kind of filing in, she sort of visualized this crazy morgue and this idea that people were literally lining up and kind of going to their death, or that she would be going to her death, or that people would die, and that she would die if, in fact, she boarded the plane. And she started to get this really sick and nauseous feeling, so she decided that she wasn't going to board. And because the flight was overbooked, it was actually easy for her to get her tickets refunded, and eventually she had to actually get her checked bags off of the plane before her husband came and picked her up. Now, she lives with her husband, her son, two parents who are very, very elderly, and that she's basically taking care of, caretaking, and a dog. And so what happens is she doesn't board this plane, and then she goes home. Her husband picks her up. She takes her home. And what happens is that the next day goes on. She said that she felt like her vision was really sharp throughout the next day. And then suddenly, by the evening of the next day, her husband put something in the oven and then fell asleep. The next thing everybody knew, the kitchen had caught on fire and smoke was everywhere. The dog is barking. She had to drag her two invalid parents through the house, 4 flights of steps through the house and out the door, and her son. And 13 fire trucks apparently came that day. And that's kind of strange, right? Because was this a precognition of a kind of emergency event that would take place the next day that, you know, that would have happened had she not been there to help take care of things? That's a very strange thing, right? I mean, she visioned like a strange morgue and a fire and people dying. And what she didn't realize is that the people dying could have been the people in the very house that she lived in. So that's my strange story of my friend Nora and her precognitive feeling just before boarding a plane at Reagan National Airport. I hope you enjoyed this little story. My name's Alain Nu. I'm the man who knows. If you like the stories that I tell and are interested in learning more about me and the performances that I do live and virtually, please go to my website at themанwhoknows.tv and subscribe to my newsletter. I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow. It'll be Saturday, so the episode will go a little bit longer. So stay tuned and we'll talk to you then. Bye.